Hey guys, Bobby Thompson back with another video, and in this video we're going to talk about 5 videos that shouldn't exist if the Earth is a pressurized Pear rock hurtling through the black void of space, and 10 that should. So without further ado, the 5 videos we're going to look at, number 1, Faking the 24-Hour Antarctic Sun. Number 2, Genius by Stephen Hawking, which is a flat Earth hit piece. Number 3, NatGeo did a flat Earth hit piece. Number 4, BBC did a vacuum chamber test testing a spacesuit. And number 5, BBC did another vacuum chamber test with comparing objects with different mass falling in a vacuum. The first video we're going to look at is going to be Antarctica 24-Hour Sun. On October 26, 2016, YouTube channel Josh Miller releases a video titled Antarctica 24-Hour Sun. The description states the video is a time-lapse from Anthony Powell's documentary Antarctica, A Year on Ice. So first thing we're going to do is let's look at the video, the whole video. I've sped it up. All these videos I'm going to be showing you are all sped up. This one's unedited, aside from being sped up. And see if you can find anything wrong with it. Use your best discerning eye, rewind if you need to before you move on, and see if you can find anything wrong with this video.
It's the middle of summer. Check the time, it's just after 12 o'clock. It's 12 o'clock midnight though.
Pretty convincing, right? Again, if you didn't find anything wrong, go back and look at it. See if you can see it. So there was a period of time where globe Earth proponents were throwing this in flat Earth proponents' faces, saying, "There you go. There's the 24-hour sun proven," right? Because a 24-hour sun in Antarctica undoubtedly would prove that we live on a globe. Unfortunately, there's problems with this video. So this is problem number 1.
Time, it's just after 12 o'clock. It's 12 o'clock midnight though.
Let's see if you can see the first problem. Did you see it? Watch the mountain here. How did it go? The guy said, what did he say?
It's the middle of summer. Check the time, it's just after 12 o'clock.
Oh, it's just after 12 o'clock, midnight.
Check the time, it's just after 12 o'clock.
And all of a sudden the sun, the mountain goes from uncovered to covered with snow. Okay, that's interesting.
Check the time, it's
So look at the second problem here. See if you can figure out what's wrong. I hope you're paying attention. Let's slow it down. How does that happen? How does the sun hide behind a tiny, thin little pole? Right? That can't happen in real life. That the sun has a certain angular size and it's a lot bigger than that pole, right? You cannot find this in any photo, in any video. In fact, what you would see if you were to look is you'd see something like this, right? And if you could slow that down and zoom in all you want, it's never going to eclipse the sun because the angular size of the sun is much bigger than a tiny pole. All right, so now here's the big one though. This is the real problem. Let's get this going. And what we got going on here is the bottom, you're seeing the top half of the original video played from start to finish, okay? And we're gonna restart the original video towards the end. And you're gonna see why we do that here in just a second. And there goes that fake sun, being eclipsed by every tiny little thing it goes behind. So this is the original first video, unedited, a little bit sped up, but just a little. And then we're going to start it in the top window as well in just a second. There we go. And the guy comes out, he talks. Ooh. How does that happen, right? How does that happen? Because if you play the whole video back, the skies are continuous, right? There's no chops. How did the beginning turn into the end? It's impossible. You can't have the same start and end scene, right? You can't have the exact same. This is the exact same. They're the exact same clouds. It's impossible. Why? Because from the moment the video started until the moment the video ended, it was continuous, right? Hopefully I'm not kicking a dead horse here, but I just want to make sure everyone understands the problem with that. All right, so just as a bonus, I didn't count this as another video because it's really just proven that they do the same thing again and again. Here's another 24-hour sun video debunked by Taboo Conspiracy. I think this is his favorite pastime, is debunking videos.
Back to the main point. So why am I convinced that this different video is also fraudulent? Instead of the clouds reappearing exactly the same, in this case, the sun appears exactly the same 24 hours later, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Let's first watch the relevant portion of the original video, but I did speed it up for brevity. As you can see, the sun is supposedly moving across the horizon as it similarly would close to the North Pole. The shadows seem correct, and the clouds do not repeat, like in the other Antarctic video. I guess they got that right. But I really want you to pay attention to the sun. Watch as the sun comes across the second time and see if you can notice at first glance any differences between the two sun segments, allegedly separated by 24 hours. Let's watch the two segments synchronized. Again, these are supposed to be separated by 24 hours. My synchronization may be off by a fraction of a second, but you can see that the suns appear to be exactly the same. Already, I think that's impossible, but I wasn't 100% certain. The sun changes its path about 1 degree every day, and the atmosphere changes a little bit every day. And so those flares on the camera, or whatever you call them, should appear similar but noticeably different. But let me get to the coup de grace that seals the deal for me, that this is indeed fake. Maybe you missed it, but there was a point where the sun appeared to flash in the video. I have the clip here. I don't know what would cause this flashing. I assume a cloud could do it, or the camera had a slight malfunction.
Now look at that. You got the exact same sun, but it's a different background. The clouds in different areas, right? And if you were to watch this video, and you didn't pay attention, you didn't have a discerning eye, it would have fooled you, right? The sun's identical the entire time. They're reusing the CGI. He's going back to McMurdo. But all of these videos are debunked. All of these 24-hour Antarctic suns. I think they probably have done some in the Arctic where there is actually a 24-hour sun, which works on the flat Earth map. And that's a good way they could fool you, right? They might even go as far as to build a fake base there and try to model it after one that actually exists in Antarctica, and then they could produce a 24-hour Antarctic sun. They could at least produce the video, but you would never be able to go to Antarctica, such as the Antarctic Peninsula under Argentina, and see that for yourself. It doesn't exist. If it did exist, there would be no need for these videos, right? But again, I've stated in other videos, I believe that they have to. They could fool us very easily. They do have the technology, but there always has to be truth in everything they do, because ultimately you're making a choice to be deceived, right? All you have to do is pay attention. Let's move on. Genius by Stephen Hawking. So this is a flat earth hit piece he did, produced by Bigger Bang Production Company, distributed by National Geographic, public broadcasting service, and Viaplay. Genius, Where Are We? Season 1, Episode 5, aired on June 1st, 2016. So if I remember right, this guy's pretending to be a flat earther, right?
Where of the lake appear to be.
Yeah, we're going to be at the top of the pyramid rock.
And
I got him. Yeah, I have you on the telescope. Go ahead and land. As it lands, it completely disappears from my line of sight.
oh man, I bet he was just blown away when that helicopter just, look at it, just right on the other side of a lake, just went below the hump of the lake, the curvature of the lake. It's amazing. That's all the proof you need right there, though. That's a done deal. That's the flat Earth killer if there ever was one. And I mean, Discovery Channel and NatGeo and PBS, the names behind this, they would never lie to you, never, right? These are reputable organizations that we can trust. They teach our children in school. They make our books. They would never lie, never, right? They'd never hide the truth from you. So that's pretty convincing. I can't tell you how many arguments I had with people, when they would say, nah, man, I've seen it debunked, right? I've seen the flat earth debunked 1,000,000 times. We have too. We just looked a little deeper. So now let's go on. What you may not have noticed is one of these is it going down and one's coming up. I think this one's going down and this one's coming up. Let's see if I'm right. Yeah. Now, check this out. This one's going down. This one's coming up. Look at these birds. It's the same scene exactly. You want to see something? Not only is the shadows are exactly alike. They reused every last bit of this. If you look at the shadow here, it's here. If you look at the shadow here, it's here. If you look at the shadow here, it's here. They took the exact same bottom and top and they just CGI'd the airplane. It's the same scene, except one has a helicopter, going down, and one has a helicopter going up. Right? There's one more time. Let's watch it. This one's going down. This one's coming up. Same 3 ducks or whatever. And again, as I've said before, I think that they do that intentionally, right? If you're willing to be deceived, it's on you. It's your fault. They always give you what you need to see the truth. Number 3, National Geographic, very special thanks. Flat Earth hit piece produced by Independent Investigation Group and We Got You Media. I think that's an interesting name to have. We Got You, yeah. With very special thanks to National Geographic. Round Earth Test was released June 30th, 2019. It was used by a number of media outlets. And this is their website. It says National Geographic TV, TAPS, CFIs, Independent Investigations Group. So this is like a neutral group. This Center for Inquiry is a science, they do real science to debunk, conspiracy theories and everything from ghosts, you name it. So, National Geographic pulled in this neutral party, and you can see Round Earth Test is what it was titled. And a very special thanks to National Geographic. For what? I don't know. Did they give them a butt ton of money? Who knows? And let's see it in its entirety, sped up.
The next test was a bolt-based target, which is, as you can see, a series of stripes. And the idea was to get a camera pretty close to the level of the water, send the boat out, and watch these horizontal stripes disappear. Okay, so that's them at 1.22 miles. That's just at the horizon. So we're not starting to lose any of the stripes yet, but from here on out, we're going to start losing the horizontal stripes. They're at 2 miles right now. It was difficult to see the boat at 3 miles out when the effect would be most pronounced, but we did lose, I think, the majority of one stripe at the bottom.
Here they come. Okay, so I'm zoomed in as far as I can, just barely see the red.
So it was about what we expected to see.
All right, man, there you saw it. This independent IIG company came out there doing real science, a scientific company. They're going to do a fair, neutral party investigation, and they saw exactly what they wanted to see. So let's move on now.
but we did lose, I think, the majority of one stripe at the bottom.
Here they come.
This is the clipped video. This isn't the whole thing.
So I'm zoomed in as far as I can. Just barely see the red.
So it was about what we expected to see.
Here they come. Okay, so I'm zoomed in as far as I can. Just barely see the red.
Can you see the problem here? Is he said that's what we expected to see, and you know you got the white and the red on the bottom. You know, a good bit of this flag chopped off, and it's the hump of water that's curving, right? So if the water has started to curve here, looks like we're looking at an angle, then this would be where it's starting to go down on the backside, right? That's how this is obscured. Then how do you have water behind it, right? Clearly, you have water behind where this flag is. Right? I'm going to let these are going to go away in a second. You'll see. So that's water back there. This we see all the time. And I should have added one of these videos. I didn't, but I've already remade this like 5 times. We see this all the time. And we've filmed islands during the day, and we've watched the water like appear to go up and down, but it's in a lake, and we know it's not water going up and down. We know there's not a tide in the lake. So, this is refraction that's doing this, unquestionably, or you wouldn't see the water in the background. And we, in the flat earth community, you may hear it called atmospheric lensing. I like that term because it can be a lot of factors, right? And so it could be refraction, it could be a number of things, but we just call it atmospheric lensing. So number 4, BBC vacuum chamber test 1. June 21st, 2009, BBC releases James May at the Edge of Space, which portrays James May participating in a vacuum chamber test to verify the efficacy of a modern spacesuit. So he's apparently going to go up to the edge of space in this like U-2 spy plane or something, and you have to have a pressurized suit for this. So he's going to test this suit that would save his life and keep him alive. Let's watch the thing in its entirety, sped up a little bit.
Captain Latimer wants me to prove that I can stay alive with just my spacesuit for protection.
Sergeant Johnson and Sergeant Jacobs in there with you today, and so 2 of our finest, and you got a good chance to meet those guys whenever they were over in the integration room with you. They're going to be right there.
There's an awful lot of people, presumably all to keep me alive, because when all the air's pumped out, this chamber will turn deadly, making some strange things happen.
It's not going to boil. That will begin to boil at around 63,000 feet, so we're going to, I'll keep you posted on that as we get a little bit closer to it. Okay, we're going to start our rapid ascent up to 75,000 feet now. And we're going to keep an eye on that glove, which has already expanded considerably since we started. Now, we just passed through 50,000 feet. That's what the Air Force deems as the space equivalent zone. And that's kind of a carryover to the back to the old space race days, whenever we were trying to kind of set a timeline between us and this. Oh, there he goes.
Let's just be clear. That water isn't boiling because it's hot. It's boiling because the pressure's so low. Without this suit on, my tears and saliva would boil too.
And our glove just popped, so it made it to 70,000 feet.
So far, so good. But things would get a lot more hairy if my cockpit canopy were to fail. Without my suit, such a catastrophic pressure drop would rip apart my lungs. Let's practice that then.
3, 2, 1. There you go. Hold that. Perfect. Doing a great job. Looking good. How you feeling?
I'm still breathing.
You are still breathing. Your suit pressure looks excellent. Your helmet pressure is looking good. So everything worked exactly like it's supposed to, which is always great.
Good. I'm very glad that's over with.
Your suit pressure looks excellent.
Now, I just want to point something out before go back and watch this video. See if you see any problems. You should. I hope you see a whole bunch of them. But while we're at it, I want to point out something else. This helmet doesn't turn, and look at the restriction on his head, right? Like his head is like seriously restricted. He can't really look around, right? You can't have a coupling on here, and at least not, it wouldn't work in real space, right? You can't have, what's going to make it turn? You're going to have ball bearings in there. You're going to have, how's it going to articulate and maintain a seal that's impervious to the most powerful vacuum in the world? There's a reason why deep sea divers don't have articulating helmets, right? So if you've ever seen the Ed White footage from Gemini 4, you know what I'm talking about.
Captain Latimer wants me to prove that I can stay alive with...
All right, so...
Have Sergeant Johnson and Sergeant Jacobs in there with you today, and so
no, this is a separate,
you got a good chance to meet those guys whenever they were.
A little clip I've taken from it.
They're going to be right there.
So these guys are going to be right there with him, they said, right? They're going to have some guys in the room with him, keeping him safe, with no spacesuit on, no eye protection, no gloves, uncovered. They just got on like t-shirts and whatnot, right? This is going to be a deadly test here.
Because when all the air's pumped out, this chamber will turn deadly, making some strange things happen.
Is that gonna boil?
That will begin to boil at around 63,000 feet. So we're gonna, and I'll keep you posted on that as we get a little bit closer to it.
Okay, man.
Because let's just be clear. That water isn't boiling because it's hot, it's boiling because the pressure's so low. Without this suit on, my tears and saliva would boil too.
Wow. Without this suit on, his tears and saliva would boil too. Again, you've got 3 guys in there without any kind of protection.
Let's just be clear. That water isn't boiling because it's hot, it's boiling because the pressure's...
All right.
Without my suit, such a catastrophic pressure drop would rip apart my lungs.
Wow, without that suit, a pressure drop like that would rip apart his lungs.
Without my... Good. I'm very glad that's over with.
These guys are in there with him the whole time. This chick's like,
Well done. Your brains didn't blow up. Your eyes didn't bulge out. Your guts didn't fall out. It's a good day so far.
Yep. It's a good day. The suit saved his life. He just in there with 3 Supermen that were impervious. So moving on, BBC Vacuum Chamber Test 2. This aired on October 28th, 2014. BBC's Human Universe, Episode 4, featured Brian Cox at NASA's Space Power Facility in Ohio, where he tested Galileo's Leaning Tower of Pisa experiment using a bowling ball and some CGI. So let's look at the unobstructed experiment, right? Or this is the whole... this is the atmosphere drop, right, from start to finish. At least all the footage that they give us.
It's a heavy object.
And look at the clarity of these feathers. I want you to pay attention to that.
To see which fell fastest.
There's no ghosting, right? These feathers are very sharp. Look at the sharpness of the bowling ball. They gave us very sharp footage of everything. You can see through the feathers. There's no ghosting. This is like 720 at least, if not 1080p. I mean, this is sharp. All this is sharp. You can see how sharp that is. And you're wondering why I'm droning on about that. It'll make sense here in the next clip. Look at that, the fine detail of the feathers. But let's move on to the next one.
Release.
And I'm not going to tell you what's wrong with this. This is, the vacuum chamber has evacuated the atmosphere. Look at this. There's no detail. It's terrible. And that's called ghosting, what you see right there. You can't, it's just blob. It's just a white blob. And there's a couple problems with that. We're going to look at it. Actually, let's go to the next slide. Now, here's the first problem. I'll show it to you, then we'll talk about it. So the argument. So this is the one where they did it in the vacuum, and everything should fall at the exact same time, because weight is irrelevant. With no atmosphere, nothing impeding an object, everything is supposed to fall at the same 9.8 meters per second squared, whatever it is. And this bowling ball should fall at the exact same speed of this feather, right? And that's what they're saying. They're saying if you watch, the bowling ball is going to fall at the same speed as the feather. And initially it does, but you've got a problem. So this spine of the feather, if that's what you want to call it, it falls faster than the feathers. So let's watch this again. You'll see the spine outpacing the feathers, and that wouldn't happen if that were really the case, right? If this were real. So I think this shot was done at atmosphere, or you wouldn't have gotten this. I've seen other feather tests I've looked up on YouTube where they drop feathers and nothing moves at all. They got a test with, I've actually used the clip. I have it saved where they have a fan blowing on a feather and the feather doesn't move at all, right? Because with no atmosphere, there's nothing can move these things. You would theoretically only have gravity pulling down on it, and gravity would pull down at the exact same regardless of the weight. Everything would fall at the same exact speed. So why does the spine fall before the feathers? Well, that's the problem. So let's move on to the next clip. So the next clip is
Release.
Yeah, so that's how you know it's fake right there. And look at that. So they're willing to give you really good quality on what they're not trying to fake. But look at that crap right there. Can you believe that? This is what they're giving you for evidence. Like, they're trying to prove to you basically right now, they're trying to back up the theory of gravity, and they're going to give this as, we just proved gravity. They all celebrate at the end of the video, and Brian Cox is over there. They're all celebrating, right? And hugging each other and just laughing and giggling. And because they essentially prove gravity. But this is what you have to believe. You have to believe that this is the best footage we could get. You have to believe that. Are you kidding me? Look at that. The ball even stretched a little bit. Like, it's terrible graphics. If you're going to accept this as proof of gravity, that's on you, right? You just got fooled here. But let's go farther. There's still more.
Release.
Now, when you see... come on, man. Watch this feather here. It disappears for a second. I think this is manipulated. I think that as it's falling, all of these things being bent, I think there's some CGI manipulation there, because as the spine's bending, it's not really affecting anything up here. See this? See this all bending? And you see it kind of go away as it folds over. It kind of disappears. But I don't care if this is real or not, honestly. Where they lost is that they had to do it in three pieces. They did the release, and then they did the CGI clip that was all ghosted, and then they showed the impact, right? If it were real, you wouldn't have to do that. So if you buy that, that's on you. And now we're going to look at 10 videos that would exist if we lived on a pressurized spinning Pear rock hurtling through the void of space. So video number 1 is, if the ISS is a real space station mankind has frequented, why is there no forward-facing footage from a spaceship leaving Earth until it docks with the ISS? These rockets, watch the Soyuz, watch these different rockets go up, and they have glass windows that you can look out of at the cockpit. I've got videos of it. You can look for yourself. You can verify there are windows. Why wouldn't you just put a camera in the front of GoPro, hold your cell phone, whatever. I mean, these guys are taking guitars and gorilla suits. I think they can get on a cell phone or a GoPro. Why not take these things, take that footage? It would squash flat Earth. Flat Earthers have been asking this forever. And if it's that easy to squash, why do these guys go on television shows and mock flat earthers when there's 10 things they could do that squash it? The reason is they can't do these 10 things. That's why they can't do it. So let's move on to number 2. Why is there no footage of any of the space stations being built? I didn't know this until today, how many space stations there have been in orbit. Salyut 1, Salyut 2, Cosmos, Skylab, Salyut 3, Salyut 4, Salyut 5, Salyut 6, Salyut 7, Mir, Tiangong 1, Tiangong 2, OPS 0855, Genesis 1, Genesis 2, ISS, and Tiangong SS. Right now, just these last two are operational, but all of these have been operational from a few weeks to a few months, maybe even, I don't know, I didn't pay attention if they go to years. Where's the footage for all these space labs, right? Space stations. I'll tell you where it's at. It's buried because it's crap. They were able to make a few, minutes, arguably a few hours total of clips that they did in zero-G planes, and that's all they've got, right? Everything else, they've got some mad mistakes on. And I'm going to be showcasing some of those. I think I found some new ones that hadn't been seen yet. Number 3, why is there no 360-degree pan of the sun, moon, and stars from space? Why has no astronaut recorded video of the Magellanic Clouds? If, every single EVA walk, these magnificent EVA walks, and keep in mind, these guys can do whatever they want. Again, they're bringing ukuleles, they're bringing gorilla suits, they're bringing their favorite jerseys, they're bringing little toys, instruments, they're singing with people. There's not a problem. Apparently they have the liberty to do whatever they want when they're up there. All I see them doing is playing games. I think when they walked out and do an EVA, they could very easily, and I don't think anyone would get mad at them, just do a 360-degree pan of space. Better than a 360. Do a 360 in every direction. Just look, show us space. Be like, this is space. Look around, take this in. Over there we got the sun. Check it out. Over here we got the moon. I'm going to turn around. Back there, we got the Magellanic Clouds. We got, look, you never seen Jupiter like this, have you? And check out Mars over there. You want to tell me they don't have cameras that are capable of that? Or they just don't want to do it because they like mocking flat earthers? Is that what it is? They just, you hear Obama talk about it. You've heard different presidents talk about it. They want to mock it, but it's so easy to squash. If you could squash it, you would squash it. The only answer they've got is this little blue bar behind video on the bottom of videos that says, whatever it says, flat Earth is some defunct, whatever. Moving on, number 4, allow an Antarctica outpost to share their exterior webcams for a full 24 hours during the summer months when there should be a 24-hour sun. So if you understand the models, I know not everyone does. Some of you might be new to this video. I'll try to sum it up real quick. On a flat Earth, you can only have a 24-hour sun as it rotates around the center. That's not a problem. Someone around that area can film the sun for 24 hours in the Arctic. I hope I said Arctic. In the Arctic summer. It's there for about 3 months. On the flat Earth model, so you can watch it 3 to 4 months. You have this 24-hour sun, and then on the flat Earth model, it goes out to around the edges. If you subscribe to the the Gleason map style flat Earth, which most of us do, then you can't have a 24-hour sun that you could watch from any point from the Antarctic. It just can't happen. It goes way too far away. On the globular Earth, it should be the same at the South Pole as it is the North Pole. But we've never seen a video of a 24-hour sun. It's never been there. Not only do they keep faking videos, and these videos should not exist, there's no reason whatsoever for these videos existing other than, circumstantially, flat Earth. What else would there be? Why would you put all this money and effort and make documentaries and to fool people with? Why would you make these fake videos? But there's another way you could debunk flat Earth. Just give 24-hour cameras. There's all these bases in the Antarctic. It's not just McMurdo. There's a ton of them. Practically, all the countries that are part of the Antarctic Treaty, they all have bases there. They all have webcams. But if you watch, these webcams shut off. They do like a half day, maybe a little more than a half day, and then they shut off and come back on the next day, right? So the problem is none of this has existed up until now. And I think we're at a point in time now where we've already been shown that we can create anything with AI at this point. And it's almost imperfect. I saw someone put a post the other day where they had these girls working on like Pornhub or whatever, OnlyFans or something. And none of them were real girls. They were all AI girls. But you didn't know, they looked dead real, but none of them existed. So I think we're at a point now where this is now effortless. Like we're coming at a point in time where we will be able to fake all these things. So where you have to be discerning is why were we faking it for the last 50 years. And if you want to accept that, well, we just didn't have the technology, but now we do, that's on you. But nothing, there'll never be a fix for the 24-hour sun, Antarctic sun. There'll never be no fix for that. They may be able to one day produce a video that fakes it convincingly, but for now, we're allowed to travel to the Antarctic Peninsula just below Argentina, and you should see a 24-hour sun there. I wrote every travel agency, and I started making a video about it because I saved all the email responses, and I said, hey, I want to know when I can go and see but I want to be sure there's a 24-hour sun. I don't want to go if there's not a 24-hour sun, because 24 hours of light is a different problem. We can show a model where that's not a problem. So don't confuse 24 hours of daylight with 24 hours of visually seeing a sun. Anyway, without spending too much time on that, moving on to number 5, turn around the Hubble telescope and give us real-time footage of the Earth, the whole view, spinning in space, never done. Real-time, right? Just turn around a camera and give us 24 hours real-time footage of the Earth. Some of you are going to say, oh, Himawari. Well, Himawari has been debunked. There's videos out there where flat earthers, hackers, actually you didn't even need to be a hacker. They left their FTP server wide open that anyone could go on there and access it. And they showed all the overlays. You could gain access to all the overlays they were using, and we saw the strip data they were using. And the Himawari just uses strip data, right? That's either taken from planes or satelloons or a combination of both, and just stripped together. And that's why it runs 10 to 15 minutes behind, right? I think 10 is the best case scenario, but it is not real time. So number 6 is give us, it's just kind of expanding on number 5, give us any real-time footage of Earth, the whole view from any of the thousands of satellites in space. It's never been done. People, I saw a debate the other day, people will argue, I can send up my own CubeSat, I can send CubeSat. Well, why don't you put a camera on your CubeSat? Is that impossible? I mean, these things are powered by the sun. You got power, apparently. That's not a problem. You can sit there and argue with flat earthers about all this data you can get. Why can't you get visual footage? Why can't you you want to impress me, send up a CubeSat with a camera on it. Why can't you do that? You see the problem? You can say, well, I'm getting this data and that data. Well, there's already have satellites where they're faking that. They're just giving you the same feed, right? Say, oh, I'm getting, I'm measuring the magnetic field. They've already got a fake feed for that. They're just giving you a copy of the feed. Whatever feeds you're saying you're subscribing to or you're thinking you're getting from your satellite, you're just getting a copy of another satellite, another fake satellite, right? Or satelloon. Number 7. Show real evidence of any flight that has traveled from the northern hemisphere due south without changing course away from due south and arrived back at the northern hemisphere. It's never been done. There's only a handful of people that claim to have done a north-south-north circumnavigation, like Sir Ranulph Fiennes, and there's been a few, like a Pan Am flight, and those are all debunked. When you go and you look at the flight paths they took, you can see they clearly did a touch and go. They didn't go over Antarctica. And unfortunately, they could fake this anyway, because all they have to do is just put on the web, on the internet, here's a flight path, this is what we took. Well, how can we prove that? We can't. We can fly over the northern hemisphere, but we can't fly over the southern hemisphere. And if you look at any type of flight tracker like FlightAware, there's others, all of our flights around the supposed globe, they all go east and west. All of our flights go east and west, but there's problems with that too, because I don't know if they only show traffic in the northern hemisphere. Once you fall below the equator, they don't show traffic, and the reason is because it'd be distorted. It wouldn't match, and there's some problems with it that are very difficult to overcome when you're stretching a spherical, a flat map into a spherical model. So they don't show you the flights in the southern hemisphere, but you can do a flight south from the southern hemisphere, from say the southern pole to the northern pole to the southern pole, and it might look convincing, because you can start at, essentially what we'll call the wall. I know you guys laugh at it if you're new here, but let's call it the wall just under Argentina. You can fly all the way, over the South America, North America, over the Northern Hemisphere, and you can go to the other side. So that might seem like you did a circumnavigation of the, of the supposed globe. But what you can't do is start in the Northern Hemisphere at the North Pole and fly due south and keep going, what some people call dead reckoning south, keep going south, and then come around the other side of the ball. We don't have flights that do that. And there's a lot of flights that would be a lot shorter if we could, right? But those flights don't exist. So number 8, erect something on the moon that we can see from Earth, right? In the 70s, they told us we were going to have colonies and resorts on the moon. You were going to be able to take vacation there. That was just 20 short years away. 50 years later, we're going to Mars, but there's nothing on the moon. As much as this country and every other country loves obelisks, who knows why? They're not phallic or anything. Why don't we have a big phallic symbol on the moon? Why don't we have an obelisk on the moon? You'll never see one there. There'll never be a moon colony there. There'll never be a space hotel there. There'll never be an obelisk on the moon that you can see with your telescope. That'll never exist. When that day comes, I'll admit I'm wrong. But it's not coming, because once the veil's lifted, you see all the lies, and we've all seen them. And I'll tell you where I'm not wrong, and I'll bet any amount of money on it. You're not going into space. Your kids aren't going into space. Your kids aren't going into space. They can keep spending their money buying NASA hats and NASA photos and donate all their money to NASA, but they're not going anywhere. Moving on to number 9, the 24-hour Antarctic sun. That's the biggest problem, right? Give us a real video of the 24-hour Antarctic sun, but even that's a problem. Honestly, if you want to know for sure if the Earth is spherical or not, go to Antarctica during the summer and see if you can watch the sun for 24 hours. You can't. Okay? I know you're going to say, everyone goes, yes, you can, Bobby, here's the video. Well, every video I've been presented with has been debunked. I think they have to. I honestly think no matter what they're making, whether it's space or whether it's rockets going up or whether it's the Antarctic sun, I think they have to give a tell. I just think it's something they have to do. So you're not looking with a discerning eye. And if you want to know the truth, the only real way to tell is go to the Antarctic Peninsula during the summer months. There should be a 24-hour sun, but there's not. There's 24 hours of daylight, but there's not a 24-hour sun. Moving on to number 10. Entering and or leaving an airlock into the black void of space. So this is the moment the astronaut's heart should be pounding, leaving the safety of the ISS. You can't produce this shot because those external shots you see are all made in a pool. Any attempt to fake this continuous shot would be inconsistent with the crap we've been given. You can't, in a continuous shot, put on a helmet inside the ISS, exit an airlock, and do an EVA. It's never been done, and it never will be. Just like we'll never get the 360 pan. And if we do, it'll be some narrow, if we ever did get a 360 pan, what we want is take 5 minutes, show us everything, show it to us. We haven't gotten anything. We haven't gotten a 180. So as far as going out the airlock, it would be so easy to just put a camera on your helmet, go through the airlock. Why is that? We got cameras just sitting outside watching people exit. I don't get this, right? You got cameras out mounted to wings and whatnot. People go out the airlock. It's out there. You got cameras all over. Where's the camera looking in the airlock that watches them, or the two looking each way? Why don't you have those? Why not? It squashes flat Earth. It's so easy. It's so easy. If I worked for the U.S. government, I'd say, give me $3,000. I'll squash flat Earth. Just give me a budget of $3,000 because I'd have access to certain things. I'd have access to astronauts. I'd have access to a spaceship. I'd say, hey, let's put this on the next, space shuttle or whatever. Let's put it in the next Soyuz rocket, whatever. Pay $1 million to throw this in there with the guitar, and we'll squash the whole thing, right? We'll just add 2 more cameras. There's a million ways to squash flat Earth, but they can't do any of them. And if you can't wake up and see that, you don't have eyes to see. This is hilarious. This show is funny. It's called Avenue 5, and this is I searched for hours for good sci-fi airlock scene, for a good scene. I couldn't find one. This is the only thing I found, but it is hilarious. I have watched this show, and we're just going to watch it real quick.
Ryan Clark, except I'm not an actual captain. I'm a former wine merchant with a reassuring face and the right vibe.
The vibe being long-bodied simpleton.
He's terrified, right? The dude's terrified. That's what you would be terrified. Your heart would be pounding. And if you were an astronaut, you would want that. You would want that footage. You would want that the moment you step out. You would want everyone to see you do it. It would be the crowning moment of your life. It'd be the most terrifying thing you'd ever did. If that little cable gives way, maybe the carabiner or whatever you call that little clip, maybe it breaks, or you'd be inspecting everything, right? You'd be like checking out your belt. Is this, what is this? Man, because if anything fails, you're going to die a horrendous death. But we don't have that footage, right? And everyone's okay with not having it. Let's move on to the next one. This is hilarious because on this one episode, you have these people on this spaceship that it got broke down in space. It was supposed to be just a quick trip, like a getaway, but now they got 3 years to get home. And someone gets the idea that they're being tricked, that the spaceship is actually on Earth. And they say, we're just going to go out the airlock. We know you guys have been fooling us, but it's pretty funny. We're going to wrap up with these last 3 little clips. Did you see the blood squirt out his eyes? Dude instantly froze. And yeah, I think that's what it would be like, right? That's what they're selling us. That's what they're telling us space is. That's what would happen. But then another group, they're like the lady, the PR lady in the spaceship. She's like, that was just VFX. It was a show we put on for you guys. Haha. She's trying to do damage control. So another group's like, oh, then that guy must have actually really went out. So he got out. So another group fights to get in there.
Joke's on you, Herman, you big ass! 50s are effects, they're pretty darn good.
So one last one. We'll wrap up with this. A third group fights to get out. They're thinking they're just on Earth, and they're gonna go out there.
Actually, I've changed my.
Hilarious show if you haven't seen it. It's called Avenue 5. The whole series is excellent. So, but in wrapping up, look, if the Earth was a sphere, the first 5 videos I showed you, they wouldn't exist. There would be no need for them, right? The fact that those fakes are out there should be all the proof you need. We wouldn't need to fake curvature. We wouldn't need to fake proving gravity. We wouldn't need to fake the efficacy of spacesuits. We wouldn't need to fake the Antarctic sun. We wouldn't need to fake any of that. You'd just go film it, right? And there wouldn't just be 1 or 2 fakes. There'd be 1,000 real ones. There's thousands of Arctic suns. There should be thousands, if not tens of thousands of Antarctic suns, especially when the Arctic sun's not even in contention, right? Like the Antarctic one proves flat Earth. There should be more. People should be going there like, look, here it is. I saw it. So on top of that, the many, many ways that if I were in government in any capacity, I'm confident I could prove the Earth were flat easily, or a sphere, prove it a sphere easily. There's all these ways that would prove, right? The fact that you are okay with you're going to live your whole life and you're never going to see astronauts, assuming they were real, because I call them astronauts, exiting an airlock, right? What you should see is 2 cameras to really prove it's real. You should have the little video where someone's filming from the outside while he has the one on his helmet. Like they're watching him suit up and they're filming him, and that's the little video. And the big video is the one playing from his head, from his helmet. And he gets suited up and he walks in the airlock and it closes and he's talking, he's narrating, he's saying, guys, man, this is crazy. Or, hey, here I am. He can act all confident, be a hot shot. here I am going out to the external door, right? And he goes out there and then he swings around the corner and grabs the, but instead, what do we get? We get scuba tanks. And we have cameras just mounted to wings outside, but we can't have anyone any in the airlock, right? The fact that you're buying this, that's on you. You're not living in base reality. Flat earthers are living in base reality. So I hope you wake up. We're doing all we can. Shout out to this. I've got so many channels. I added some new ones to my description. So I think I added Good Times for All and I added Melodome, 2 more great channels. I only recently found out about Zachary Zabala with Good Times for All and Austin Thompson, because Thompson's, we got Nathan Thompson now, we got me, we got Austin Thompson, Melodome. This community is nothing but love. And we'll take all this heat for you guys. If you think we're doing it for glory, you're wrong. We're trying to wake you up. Take the red pill, follow the white rabbit, take the red pill. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. That's all I got. Until next time, take care.